Many feel threatened by homeless people. Even we had trouble summoning up the courage to ask them for an interview. Obviously not due to the fact that they're homeless. These cute innocent animals are homeless and they don't pose a threat at all. Perhaps it's a stereotype that the majority of homeless are either drug addicts or alcoholics.
Do you feel safe around homeless people?
Yes and no. I mean, some people have mental disabilities, so it makes it a little harder, but most people are fine. Some of them get a bit crazy if you don't give up the money.
You usually see what they're doing with money. I think it's better to provide them with like food or clothing rather than money.
Got a bit scared. I felt threatened once, but this guy looked like he was high or something. So yeah, I just felt a bit threatened when he came and approached me and asked me for big money.
We surveyed 50 members of the public to see if they felt safe around homeless people, and just over half of them said yes. But how about them? Do they feel safe around us?
Do you feel safe in this area?
No.
Do you get any trouble from the police or other people? But other people are there.
What's it like having to talk to strangers all day?
Meet strangers and then they like you to become friends.
Do you get any trouble from the police or other people?
Yeah, heaps of trouble from the police.
Yes, we do. They can get and pick us up for drinking.
What's it like having to talk to strangers all day?
Even the homeless need to make money somehow. Sometimes they busk. Sometimes they simply ask. And other times, they may provide creative talent, like this man who draws elaborate crayon pictures to sell to the public. But perhaps one of the most innovative ways for the homeless to make money is through the big issue.
What does this organisation really do?
What do we do? Well, we do lots of things. The main part of it is obviously a magazine that's sold on the streets by people who are homeless or marginalised in some way.
How does the charity get funded and all that?
Majority of funding for the magazine is through sales of the magazine, so about 80% of the funding is through sales of magazines, and then obviously advertising within the magazines and philanthropic trusts.
How do you get people, homeless people, involved with, selling the big issue? Do they come to you, or do you?
Yeah, look, the majority of them do. What we do find is that it's word of mouth. So other vendors encourage other people to come and sell because it makes a difference to them. So you might find that if you've got a vendor who's currently living in a shelter, in a crisis accommodation or something, and they're then going back at the end of the night with a bit of cash in their pocket and a smile on their face. So the next day there's a few more coming along, and it just kind of rolls on. So we also go out and seek them as well. So we go to soup vans and we go to other agencies, that sort of thing. But majority is through other vendors.
Do they have to buy the magazines? Or?
Yeah, the vendors buy the magazines off us for $2.50 and go on and sell them to the public for $5. Because ultimately we're not a handout.
Yeah.
We are here, to provide them with a mechanism to be able to go on and change their lives. And if we continue to give out free things and things like that, it doesn't always change things. So it's about, running your own business, knowing how many mags you're going to need for the day. A lot of vendors only come in here in the morning and buy one magazine, because that's all they've got, it's $2.50. At the end of the day, they've got $50 or $60 in their pocket. Yeah. Then we've got some vendors at the start of the week when the new mag comes out, come and buy 400 or 500 mags.
How did the big issue start?
Well, it actually started in the UK quite a few years ago now. It's like 18 years ago. And it was started by a gentleman by the name of Gordon Roddick. He was in New York and there was a man begging. But rather than just take money off people, he would give them a piece of his poetry. So he got talking with this guy and they came up with, the street paper model. And now there's over 180 street papers right around the world. But unfortunately here in Australia, we don't see a lot of homelessness, and automatically we have this really big stereotype that if you are homeless, you're a dero or you're a drug addict, which it's not the case. It's actually quite the opposite. But we have a massive problem with people with mental illness.
So do you keep track of the homeless people?
We'd like to keep a little bit more in contact with some of them that drift out of our system, but You know, they always know that the door's always open. And a lot of people do that. You know, they get really well and they'll go off and they'll go back to school or they'll go back to employment, full-time employment, and then, you know, they might get unwell again and they come back here and, you know, it's a revolving door. We're the only organisation who does anything like what we do here, i.e. we give them employment.
The big issue is one of many organisations playing its part in assisting the homeless. But is enough really being done to help?
Do you think the government is doing enough to support homeless?
No, not at all.
Do you reckon the government does enough to support homeless shelters?
No, homelessness is a pretty big problem.
Do you think the government is doing enough to support homeless shelters?
No, they should support more.
Do you think the government is doing enough to support homeless?
I think that's really hard done by. I think we can do more to give them support.
So I don't think there's enough support for them. Not that many people really look at them and nobody tries to help them out very much.
I think it's people that we need to help, and with the resources we have an obligation to help them.
Could be 15 years old again. Would you change anything?
Yeah, I'd try and get some accommodation. And your young bloke should keep to school and get an education. Or you end up like us on the street.